It's the biggest collapse ever in the U.S. trucking industry.
Let's turn to the collapse of Yellow, one of the country's biggest trucking companies, affecting 30,000 workers and leaving taxpayers in the hole for hundreds of millions of dollars it received during COVID.
Digital freight broker Convoy has broken down.
Business and how we operate as a high-performing organization.
Thank you for joining us in the Truckers Lounge. We are your hosts. I am Priest Ingram, along with Gene Banks. A little backstory about our platform, or our podcast, rather. Both of us, in total, got around about 40 years of experience in the trucking industry. We wanted to build a platform where we can give our perspective on issues going on in the industry that's affecting the trucking community. We feel like that there are platforms that really give you the information, but doesn't necessarily give you in-depth detail about what's going on, unless it's politically correct, I would say.
Right.
So with that being said, before I check with you, Gene, happy late Turkey Day. I hope everybody had a prosperous, joyful holiday and safe. And I hope that you got a chance to enjoy your family, your significant other. And if nothing else, I hope you enjoyed it by yourself. At least we were still able to hear this, to see it. There's a lot of us that didn't make it. So I just wanted to make sure that I wish you guys a happy holidays. So, Gene, how was your holiday?
Mine was pretty great. I got a chance to spend some time with some family in Oklahoma City. So I had a good time.
Okay, cool. You never did tell me how the red snapper was.
Oh man, it was delicious.
Was it?
My first time had it. My niece, she did a great job on that.
Really?
Yeah,
oh, that was her first time doing it?
No, she's done it before. So I forgot to send you those pictures of it. But yeah,
you did.
It was pretty good.
So what did it taste like? Like, if you could compare it to something, what did it taste like? Because I hadn't had one yet. I think the highest I went was yellowfin tuna.
The texture, I can't say it was like catfish.
Was it kind of lean? Juicy?
Yeah.
It was kind of lean?
Yeah, kind of lean. It's got bones in it.
Uh-huh.
It's fairly bony, but it's a lot of meat.
Uh-huh.
And it was very flavorful. So, hey, I enjoyed
Citrusy?
it. She did add a little citrus to it.
Uh-huh.
But it's something I would have again.
Yeah. I can tell by the look on your face. You tasted it now. You burping and shit.
Yeah.
In my face. Y'all see that?
Yeah, I would definitely try it again.
That's what's up, man. Mine was pretty cool too. It was very peaceful. Got a plate brought to me, man. Woke up the next day with a headache, so I think I ate something that I shouldn't have ate. Yeah, I believe I had the red snap. I would have woke up the next day full of energy. Probably
so
didn't get the gym.
You had something your mom's cooking?
No, man. My in-laws, basically. I think they set me up.
Okay.
I think they set me up.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's good that you had a happy holiday, man. You made it back home safely, man.
Oh,
Glad
yeah.
you're back.
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
Definitely, yeah. So let's get real with the issues here, people. Okay,
yes, sir.
We will be discussing today the USPS overhaul network and the impact it has on contractors. So we're going to start with a convention that went down in Charlotte, North Carolina this year, May 22nd. I believe it was hosted by Postmaster General and CEO, Louis DeJoy.
Right.
Yeah, Louis DeJoy. And they was basically, speaking on the National Postal Forum. That's what the forum was called. And they was discussing, what was the plan called? The Delivering for America plan.
Right, Delivering from America.
Right. And we wanted to analyze this to kind of give you guys, a little bit more information about what this means for independent contractors, since that's what this platform is based off of, because we know there are a lot of carriers. that pretty much built a foundation off the United States Postal Service
Right.
programs to receive contracts.
Right.
And Mr. Louis DeJoy had quite a bit to say in regards to the trucking industry here. Let's see
Okay.
here. Okay, he made statements on improving their service.
Okay.
One of the main key points he hit on, he says, we have not just on delivering the mail tomorrow, but also rescuing the Postal Service from an ongoing and severe crisis, transforming it into a vibrant organization for the future. Then he also touched on topics of reducing costs. He says, to highlight that topic, in delivering for America plan, we sign on to fulfill those requirements by improving our services, reducing our costs, growing our revenue, motivating our employees, and advocating for reasonable changes to burdensome litigation, regulation, and rules. So he had a lot of strong opinion, and he didn't stop there. He
Okay.
touched on growing their revenue. He says we now need to step up our cost reduction in revenue, uh, innovators, and continue to shape our service based on the authorities we have and can garner through our advocacy. And then he touched on optimizing the network. He says over the
Right.
years we had addressed our changing operating requirements by haphazardly deploying plant, labor, and transportation in a manner that systematically disaggregated all mail and package flow. This created substantial workarounds and gross inefficiencies. So their strategies for realignment, he says, this process created a national processing network of over 425 facilities
Wow.
randomly plumped together over the last 15 years. These facilities are assembled without a national strategic operating plan or design, driving up costs, ignoring precision, and reducing our ability to effectively operate. Now,
Right.
this plan that he got here for America, delivering for America plan, um, is very important, in regards to independent contractors. So, we want to start there and touch on that. So,
Okay.
this plan, by the way, been in effect since 2021. They've been planning this. And so anyway, based on what I read, Gene, what's your take on that, man?
Well, basically, what he's saying, from what I take, is basically saying we got to stop the bleeding
Right.
from the inside,
Right.
and the way to do that is to cut the costs where we feel like, we're bleeding from, when
What kind
you,
of give the people a little summary about the bleeding? Like
okay,
what was going on with them for them to want to put this in play? To the best of your ability, because I know it's a lot of information.
right.
Yeah.
I can just basically go back to what I remember seeing an article where he said is that when he came into the position, they were losing billions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
He said they had lost $20 billion. They were losing on the course for losing $20 billion when he came into office in 2020. And also in the course of running out of cash within 50 days. So
Right.
in 2020, they were basically, threatening to go out of business because they didn't have enough money, enough funding to operate the way they were continuing to operate. So he was saying we needed to stop the bleeding because we were spending money in areas we didn't need to be spending in. They weren't invested in technology, like he said. They
Right.
weren't invested in employees, the employees' 401k
Right.
and retirement plans, or at least doing the employee matching and everything. And
Right.
so they wanted to stop the bleeding of unnecessary money going out and started, how can we refocus? How can we regroup? And let's start doing everything from the inside, you know? And so quite naturally, a lot of contractors are going to hurt, big and small.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's a lot of that going on right now anyway. A lot of major companies like United States Postal Service are cutting costs.
Yeah.
And, based on what Gene just explained, it rolls into how this impact contractors.
Right.
And so what they're going to be doing basically, they're going to be pulling contracts back. Now, we got a spokesperson. What's her name? Is Susan Brennan?
Yeah.
Okay, she kind of sent us an email that was kind of unclear. They said they're going to be canceling contracts. How does she put it, Jen? They're going to be canceling contracts, certain areas, and adding to where it's needed.
Right.
Right.
So it was almost like a contradictory type,
Kinda.
statement, but that's what they were saying. They were going to be, basically word for word. She was, the term she uses, the process would add and cancel carrier contacts as determined to be the best interest of the Postal Service's strategic goals.
Right.
So.
Well, in the article that I read, because it was a lengthy article, it was like 12 pages on Mr. DeJoy's seminar that he spoke at this year in May.
Okay.
He made a statement in the article basically saying that they weren't pleased with the amount of money that they were spending on independent contractors, basically saying that the United States Postal Service is spending money foolishly in areas like outsourcing contracts, and they keep doing it. So he's basically, the way that I take it, he's coming in saying it's finna be a new day.
Right.
Yeah, it's finna be a new day. And there have been contractors already, touched by this. We started following this story when news broke that 10 rows laid off 66 employees at their Fort Worth location.
Right.
And the news said that it was in part because the United States Postal Service were pulling back contracts from them. So that had us very interested in this story. We further got interested in it when we got wind that they also laid off over 100 employees at their California location. Now, we haven't confirmed it. We haven't seen that reported anywhere else other than like one, maybe two sources on social media. We like to kind of get our facts in order before we give our perspective on it. So we're going to hold you on that.
Right.
Until we find out and go based on what we know.
Right. Yeah, we're still waiting to hear from the representatives out there in California on that story. Yeah.
Exactly. But speaking of these contracts being pulled back, there have been companies that was impacted last year in 2022 by this contract. We had what was the name of that company here? Let me find it here. I think it's was it Allie Hull?
Right. The company, they had been in it with about 70 years or so.
Man, 70 years.
Yeah.
70 years, man. This company was in business, man.
Directly.
Well, the lady name is Allie Hull.
Right.
She's a descendant of the Hull family that started this company.
So I guess you call it a third generation
so to speak.
Right, transportation provider for the USPS.
Yep, so to speak, man. So there's been companies like hers been hit. 2021, a Missouri trucking company filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy protection after its line haul contracts with the United States Postal Service was terminated. Man, that's a lot happened. But just to touch on her interview, she made statements in her interview that that company had been in business for over 70 years. It started in 1936. They basically based their whole operation around serving the United States Postal Service. They had a warehouse where they would pull from the United States Postal Service hub, back to their warehouse. They would break down the United States, where the USPS shipments and ship it out for them, outsource it for them. So they were doing pretty good. They've been doing this since, for 70 years.
Yeah,
And
that's news to me. I didn't know that the Postal Service offered that type of those type of opportunities outside of hauling the mail.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because I saw on their website they offered it. But see what's interesting about Miss Allie Hull's company, they were only running out of the Richmond, Virginia location. So they pretty much was kind of like almost like grandfathered into that particular terminal. And so the Richmond, Virginia location started a pilot to start something new. So they abruptly pulled their contracts. Now, to be fully transparent on her statement, she said she got wind of it in 2021 that there were going to be changes, but we don't believe that she knew when the change was going to happen. I believe that her understanding was that all this was supposed to have been fulfilled by 2025, which that's the post office plan. And they just pulled her contracts last year and forced her out of business,
Right.
So, she said in her statement that she wasn't the only one. Some went and worked for Amazon and, different companies, but I guess she decided that she wasn't going to do it.
Yeah, she just went on ahead and bowed out because, hey, after not having to deal with a load board,
man,
and not because I've gone from dealing with a load board every day to having a dedicated route every day, not having to negotiate and none of that, and it felt good not to have to send different rate cards
here on earth. Hey,
yeah, that felt
that's
good.
how it feels, man.
Yeah. So that's something. So I understand. I can relate to how she feel. To go that long.
Oh man, that lady would have had to spend more money putting systems in place just to get out and chase the load board, trying to build new relationships. Then she had a warehouse or facility rather, where she was breaking down the United States Postal Service product when she was doing contracts with them. So to have to rebuild from there, build new relationships to transload, store product, man, and you go from having one customer to like 30 to 40. Man, the paperwork would just be horrendous. I completely understand why she closed.
And she probably had to get a factory company.
Oh man, she probably didn't even have to deal with that in the first place. Now you got to deal with the factoring company and their fraud protections systems that they have in place that holds your money up.
Right. And so you may end up getting you a couple good customers that you can deal with direct, but your factory company say, no, we don't. Either they could have been in business for 10 years, but we've never done business with them. So nope.
Yeah,
you can't use them.
Yeah, and then on top of that, they probably would have had to get more permits. Just outside of the way they was already familiar with operating, man. And I'm gonna tell you guys something. Anybody who don't know, I'll let you know. But those who know, they know.
Right.
Warehouse space is not cheap,
man.
Warehouse space is not cheap, man. You sit in that warehouse for 2 months with nothing moving. Oh man, you might be 16,000 or better in the hole with the price of some of this commercial real estate.
And that's for a little small storefront.
Yeah,
a lot of them. A little small storefront suite.
Right.
Exactly. Almost.
And some may read that story and say, "Oh man, she gave up, man. No, man, that's a smart business decision to know when to fold."
Yeah.
If you, especially, and a lot of guys who new in the industry, they really don't know the history, but we've never seen this before happen in the trucking industry.
Right.
You know, we never seeing, because usually if the freight rates go down, the fuel costs go down, right?
Does.
Right. See, we never seen anything like this before, where the freight rates go down, but the fuel costs and all the maintenance and expenses go
Everything
up.
else go up. Yeah.
Never seeing that. So, I honestly think that was a smart business decision. I mean, if you running a company that's been groomed to operate a certain way, all your people are used to operating that way. When you throw when you got a team of people and you throw a wrench in the system, everything gets knocked out of whack. And
Right.
it puts you in a position to where you have to do more strenuous management that you didn't have to do before. So yeah, man, I completely understand.
And
that
you may not be able to keep the same people.
You ain't shoot, you're not.
Yeah.
Shoot, man, when them routes change up, man, when you tell them guys, look, man, I know y'all was running local, but y'all might have to run the road from time to
a little
time.
further. Yeah.
All right. Y'all drivers know who y'all are. That you know what I'm saying, that'll end up being the problem. I'm
around,
one.
man. Hey, people say, man, this used to be a good company, man. Until they
yeah, man, you be a good company, man. What the hell happened, man? They talking about, man, I was home every day, man, before the sun go down. They talking about hitting the road now.
man, they gotta get somebody else for that.
Well, man, so she did the right thing, man. You know what I'm saying? She didn't take no strikes off her life with dealing with the stress of people, us.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because
That's true.
when you human, it's hard to satisfy you.
Yeah.
It take a very special person that bleed red, blood pumping through their veins to work with you, be all in with you, because you took a chance on them. And I'm not saying that we owe that to anybody. Go ahead, Gene.
That's true. I'm gonna ask how many other people in that area was affected by that, because I know she wasn't the only company. I remember reading that other families or other companies were affected.
Well, in her region, 7 companies lost part, if not all, of their contracts. And it was total like 134 families impacted just in the Virginia area, based off of that Richmond location pulling back their contracts.
That's a lot.
And that's just the Richmond location. And in the USPS, they got plenty of locations. So, you know what I mean? That's micro.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's micro,
Yeah.
And let's see here. What else we got here?
Yeah, because you can just only imagine every major city had some type of hub that could have been negatively affected, in some type of way. Because I know that's what the postmaster, DeJoy was talking about, was trying to, just redo everything.
Right.
And just have certain areas for processing.
Right.
To handle everything, because they wanted to upgrade their technology, because they didn't have a lot of up-to-date technology. They was doing a lot of stuff by hand. And so they wanted to update their technology. And I imagine they're going to start using a lot of automation.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. When I hear them say upgrade technology, I hear job losses.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I hear. I hear job losses,
Yeah. Which they had always said that, post office was, kind of big anyway.
Yeah. But just being honest, the post office started slipping, in my opinion. You remember when Trump was in office?
Okay.
And him and Jeff Bezos had that beef because Jeff Bezos was sending a lot of product through the United States Postal Service.
Right.
When Trump did what he did and enacted what he enacted, next thing you know, letters that usually, like, if you mail me a letter from where you stay, we stay in the same town. If you mail me a letter from where you stay, before Trump did what he did, that letter would be here tomorrow, the next day. Yeah. When Trump did what he did, that letter turned into a 3-day journey, coming a couple of blocks.
Yeah.
So, my opinion, and it's just my opinion, I think that the decisions that Trump made regarding the United States Postal Service because of his beef with Mr. Bezos, kind of
started their demise.
no, well, you know what I'm saying. I think it put all, you know what I'm saying, like whatever they had going on, I think it kind of put it in motion faster. You know what I'm saying? Like if they was already taking losses, I don't think what he did helped them any. And I think, for an example, this let's go back here because I want to make sure that I could, you know what I'm saying, say the name of the plan correct because I like how they put it, you know, because they really selling themselves on this here. You can't really blame them.
Okay.
What was the plan called? I'm finna find it here. You know, we don't have to be perfect. This is the Truckers Lounge. You know what I'm saying? Everybody know how it is. So it's called the Delivering for America plan. Just for an example. And like I say, this is just my opinion. Say for instance, if they wanted to fulfill this by 2030.
Okay.
When Trump did what he did, I think it kicked it into high gear. Like, okay, we got to do something fast. You know, now you know what I'm saying. We done lost Amazon now, so because you know we read where they took a hit from $160 billion budget to $70 billion or something like that.
Right. Yeah. So
you know,
I remember reading something.
Right. You know, but they never said where the loss really came from. They just talking about, you know, basically outside contractors and transportation carriers basically overcharging them and not performing to, you know, the up to the standards they want them to.
Right.
But I think it's more than that too, because you know, Amazon, when they was going through the post office, that was a lot of money going through there.
Yeah,
you know, just with Amazon, you know, based off what the post office charged. So
now, because see, wasn't Amazon originally going through like FedEx and UPS before they switched to the post office?
I want to say they were, but they might have been, you know, sharing in between, depending on how fast you wanted your product. You know, FedEx gonna get it there within a day if you could stand. You know, before they came out with Amazon Prime and all that kind of stuff. You know, it was just like ordering off a regular website. You know, if you wanted yours, you know, within a certain amount of time, you pay extra. You know, and it be FedEx to you.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that's what that was. So. But the question of the day on this topic is, do you think that the United States Postal Service properly analyzed the impacts that this would have on carriers and put any alternatives in place? Do you think they properly did it? And if you don't, do you think they will? Because, you know, like look at it.
I ain't gonna say I don't think it was at the forefront of their plan.
Was it?
You know, them, you know, analyzing how it's gonna affect, you know what I'm saying? You know, I believe that they did consider it because I know they couldn't just cut everything just like that because then it would disrupt their service.
Right.
But I think that they did consider it to an extent because they didn't just come out and just tell everybody contracts is over, you know, starting today. You know what I'm saying? You know, we finna start doing everything in-house. So I think that
now, you know, let Allie tell it the shit. She didn't get no warning other than the year before.
But that was just that one terminal they had done, or that one little location at that time. Because you know they're going to be strategic,
reported.
Right? They're going to be strategic because if they got 400 some locations around the country, was it those are 425 processing centers that they have?
Yeah.
Okay, so if
the Richmond location is supposed to be like, you know, basically one of the locations that they was trying this new thing out with, you know, for their plan that they trying to implement by 2025.
Right. So I just can't really see that they. I guess I kind of hate to say that they just didn't care, you know. But at the end of the day, when we go back to how much money they were losing, and they were on the verge a few years ago, because I remember seeing the articles and seeing it on the news that they were on the verge of practically going out of business.
Right.
You know, they had to do what they had to do. Had to come up with some type of plan.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
know, because I'm glad that you said that too, man. Because I know, because I know you was just giving your perspective.
right?
Because we know there's a lot of people out there that feel that way, and that give me an opportunity to say, welcome to the world of business to business.
Hey,
That's the way it is when you business to business. They don't owe you anything as if you're an employee.
that is true.
That's the only thing about it. I mean, it's sad, but it's true. As a business person, it, I hate to say this, because I always have felt this way since I had started running one. But you can't really get comfortable with an account.
Not at all.
Because anything's subject to change, man. I mean, if you've been running an account for 20 years to this small grocery store, then your service has assisted them with growing. Now they got like 12 locations. All they have to hear about is you can't cover it. Then they start outsourcing, the freight to get moved through brokers, and then they look at their official year end and see how much money they've been paying. They're going to weigh their option. They're going to say, okay, I paid $1 million this year to have freight transported. But if I go out and buy this amount of trucks, I pay $500,000 for this truck, put drivers in it, pay them $80,000 a year with some benefits. The first year I'm not going to win on that saving, but in 5 years, man, I'll see a gigantic profit.
Exactly.
That's usually how that works. Just in case anybody don't really know. I know when you get on these accounts, they make you feel so good about it. They like me.
Right.
But when it come down to the money, it's not about like, it's about saving. And when you run in a business, you have to understand that, because if they cut your costs to where you can't operate, you're going to go somewhere else too.
Exactly. You would. You
right.
have no choice but to.
Right. And I know we say, well, the United States Postal Service, they got plenty of money. They work for the government. Well, that's how the rich stay rich. That's why they got plenty of money, because they want to make sure they're not overspending money. The difference between the rich and a lot of us is that if we have $1,000, we may get down to 200 before we consider that we in trouble. Because we're like, okay, I still got 200, left, and next week I got a check coming in, I'll be okay. The rich people, when they get down to $800 out that 1,000, it's already high alerts going on, because they want that money to keep generating. They want that 1,000 to get up to 1,500. They want that 1,500 to flip to 22. They want that 2,200 flip to 28. And I feel like we should think like that. I mean, why not? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because if you're running a business, you got to start spending your money like you working for another company. I know people say, yeah, all you got to do, you just got to pay yourself. Okay, what if we in times like these right here? We in times now to where your gross is your check, basically. So, you have to cut yourself shorter than that. And you have to ignore all the background noise of the guys working at Cisco and these LTL companies. Man, I bring home $2,000 a week, man. You only able to pay yourself $500. You got to ignore that. If this is your dream to run a business.
Yeah. And if your cost of living is to where you need $1,000 a week, and the only thing you're clearing after all your expenses come out is $1,000 a week, so you haven't even been able to set anything aside for taxes, maintenance.
Man.
You already in the hole. You already behind, because you're gonna take that whole 1,000 and just hope and pray for the next week things get better.
And that's another thing too, them taxes, for a lot of the guys who are new in the industry. Hey, I already know. I know there's a lot of people that say, man, I don't really pay much taxes. Just keep going. It's coming. The IRS, believe me, they're going to find a way to get theirs. They're going to, It's especially if they find out any loopholes we take, that they're going to find a way to come back and get there. That greedy.
Yeah, they are.
They want
You
it
know.
all, man.
Yep, they
They
gonna
want it
find.
all.
They definitely gonna find out.
Yeah,
That's for
man.
sure.
Yep, sad situation, man. What's going on in the trucking industry, man? What's happening to the careers we love? You know, we got blood, sweat, and tears involved in it. Staying up all night long, sometimes driving illegal just to get a load there, man. Just to, you know, taking chances on our life, and this is the appreciation that we get, you know, because we're business to business, and we got to stop
Right.
waiting on the high power to feel sorry for us. I mean, we have to stop that. We got enough power in ourselves to make a lot of things happen. We just won't do it because we won't work together. And every show that you watch, you will hear me say that often. We do not work together, nor are we trying to come up with a plan to work together. We just want to complain. So we're just going to report factual topics and give our opinion on it, on what we think is going on. And the reason why that is because you have platforms out there that will not go in depth and just, you know, call it, you know what I'm saying, a crook.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, we got enough experience in this. We don't have to wait on the news source to come out and say, okay, this is what's really happening. We've been in the game long enough to where when the pandemic happened, and I'm telling you, hear me say this too often, we called everything that's happening now while the media had everybody on pause. We was already calling this of what was about to happen.
Yeah, I was a little nervous.
Yeah.
I said, man, everybody eating good right now, but when is the bottom gonna fall out? I said, the bottom gonna fall out at some point. I didn't expect it to last as long as it did.
Yeah.
You know, but hey, you know.
And you know what's funny, man?
Yeah.
You content creators. Y'all talk too much. Soon as y'all start doing videos about government contracts, you could get contract with the Postal Service, start running everybody over there, them people face. Look.
Right.
Look. I like to see, you know, what else y'all gonna come up with next. Because I be watching. I mean, I find it interesting because they're not lying. They're just not giving valid information.
Right.
You know, I mean, if somebody said you a jug of milk and you don't ask what the date is, you know, yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying? You hear pull a bowl of cereal and chunks coming out of it. I mean, you know, you didn't check the date. So a lot of information, and I really want to say this here. A lot of information that these content creators are putting out there to get likes or whatever they're trying to do, it's accurate, but it's outdated. And what I mean by outdated, it's not worth, or it's not as valuable as what's going on in the economy now. Because like we said earlier, this is something we never seen before.
Right. And I haven't seen too many people give advice on how to weather this storm. You know, I don't know.
Well, there are people out there. It's just not those content creators.
Yeah.
You know, see what they do when people get in their comments and start getting on their case, like, hey man, this is not working. Hey man, I signed up for this here. Man, that's insane. Hey man, I'm doing this here. Blah 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 blah. They come up with a new strategy to try to deflect. Then next thing you know, you'll see them disappear. And then the only time they'll reappear is if they write about something. You'll never see a lot of them pop up and say, hey, the information I gave you is accurate. It's just not relevant right now. It's a change going on in the economy. I don't know what it is. And maybe this may one day be relevant again, or something new may be put in place. But be on the lookout for that and keep in tune with me. That's how you should do it if you're being honest. But see, nobody want to be honest. Everybody want to sell their master
class.
Who the hell gave that name?
Somebody came up with it.
Man, we
I don't
gotta
think.
Google and find out who came up with masterclass, man. We're gonna jump you.
Now, the first time I was really seeing someone talk about a master class was Oprah Winfrey, when she had
Uh-huh.
Oprah's master class. But
Uh-huh.
in the social media world, I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
Everybody start coming out with master classes on how to make, so much money.
It sounds bad because you got so many so-called gurus out here. Hold on a second. Let me put my quotes closer, on. Got so many so-called gurus out here that it's really giving masterclass a bad name because now when most people who have been screwed or already knew what's going on, when they hear the word, man, so and so got a masterclass, they tell them a goddamn lie. You know what I mean? That's what the feeling is now, because you're
Right.
giving outdated information.
Yeah.
And that's always been that's always been a strategy that we have been seeing over the years. How like we'll see these commercials, I made $1 million in the stock market and you can too. You know what I mean? All this stuff that we used to hear about back in the day, man, a lot of information that they had gave was outdated. They made money off of it, but they burnt it up. You know what I mean? They
Right.
burnt all the resources of it, then they sell it to you. Then you know what I'm saying? That they'd have made thousands on top of hundreds of $1,000s off of it. Now you get in it, you may be lucky to get a couple of $100.
Right.
Profit or whatever. And then, it kind of just like levels you off there to where you
Yeah.
kind of like fluctuating back and forth. So it's not false information. It's just not up to date.
Right. You can apply it right now.
Right. That's what I'm
Right.
saying. So you got to come up with something new or you got to perfect what's already in existence. Bless you.
Excuse me. Thanks.
Yeah, but yeah, man, that's pretty much all I had to say on the topic of the United States Postal Service. I'm not gonna say shame on them because they have to protect their interests. I mean,
Right.
I understand. They did give warning in 2021 that they was gonna start making these moves. You just as a business person, just if you're in that industry working with the United States Postal Service and this issue hadn't hit your area yet, please plan
Right.
ahead. Don't wait till this hits you and then be on some of the news sources we like talking about you talking about you closed down, you had to file bankrupt. You know what I mean? Just plan ahead.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, they still have employees themselves.
Who?
And so the USPS, the Postal Service.
Yeah, oh yeah,
And so
they're gonna take
and
care of
so right. And so downsizing their contractors is gonna leave more food on the table for
that. Of course.
their employees.
Of course, we talked about it earlier. We think Landstar's doing that with the story that broke about they was cutting
Was it like
3,000 to
3,000?
10,000
Yeah.
drivers, because they were new authority. But see, this is where our perspective come in.
Right.
I don't know about Gene. I call BS.
Okay.
This is why. Because when you're running a business and you're outsourcing work, when things like this in the economy happens, you have to keep a lot of that work that you outsource insourced. So that's why I call BS on that. So furthermore, the news that we saw, they are not working with 3,000 to 10,000 drivers. I mean, look at that large gap. 3,000, 10,000. Come on now. I can see if you said 7,000 to 10,000. You said 3,000 to 10,000. To me, that sounds like you trying to keep freight volumes are going down.
Right.
And it just sounds like you're trying to keep work in-house for the guys that's under your authority. And it's nothing wrong with that. There's no crime in that.
Right. Because they're going to be complaining. They're going to start leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what I'm saying? We just have to think the people that we have in leadership. And I'm not just going to harp on President Biden. That's not what I'm going to do because I'm a firm believer that a lot of this nonsense comes from the Senate and the House.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a firm believer in that. I know the president supposedly had the last say, but the president, just like any other politician, can be influenced by threats of not getting certain votes and, you know, all this kind of political stuff that puts us in harm's way for people with deeper pockets, special interests.
Right.
You know, don't matter what party they are, you know,
Yeah.
because money is green. Money has no party,
True.
you know.
Now I wanted to add to that about the postal service that I had seen. They said the postal service generally receives no tax dollars for operating expenses and relies on the sale of postage, products, and services to fund its operations.
You said they receive no tax dollars for what?
No tax dollars for operating expenses and relies on the sale of postage, products, and services to fund its operations.
Oh, that's for the people who thinking they're funded by the government.
Right.
Oh, okay. I got you. I got you. Man, that's bad.
Right. Because
Yeah.
they have that name, but they're not a government entity.
Uh-huh.
But they kind of, you know, I guess would they be considered too big to fail? You know, I haven't heard of them receiving any bailouts. You know.
Not in this lifetime, they're not too big to fail because they already, you know, raising high alert now. They you know, when you look at that cut they took from 160 billion to 70, that was an astronomical cut because, and I know a lot of people gonna say, but they still got $70 billion. You got to look at the amount of terminals they have. You got to look at the investors, the stakeholders they have. You got to look at the amount of employees they have.
Look at the employees,
Yeah, man. And the stakeholders going to get theirs first. When you're dealing with a company that's public, because USPS is a public company, right? You know, like on the stock exchange.
I don't know. I've never checked that out.
Hold on a second.
You know,
let me check it out here.
Yeah, I've never checked it out to see if they were publicly traded. I never even thought to check it out if they were publicly traded. Okay.
Let me see.
You know,
it says UPS. It's USPS, a public company. It says it's both. The Postal Service is a unique institution with elements of both a business and a public service. That's not what I'm asking. Hold on a second. Yeah, that's not what I'm asking. Hold on a second. Yeah.
That would be interesting if they were publicly traded.
Okay, is the U.S. Postal Service a government corporation? Okay, it says the USPS is often mistaken for a state-owned enterprise or government-owned corporation because it operates much like a business. It is, however, an establishment of the executive branch of the government of the United States. That's what I thought. So, I mean, so is the government going broke or about to lose?
Yeah, it'd be confusing me with that.
Yeah, because you know, because I was about to say earlier, and I'm glad I didn't because I'm gonna tell you something. I think I know everything. I'm proud to say because I was about to say because I was gonna say for the show. Oh, with man, look, I always thought that that the USPS was an arm of the government in some kind of way. So obviously they are.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell is going on.
Yeah, because I always heard that they weren't a government. Oh, no, I think I'm getting them mixed up with the IRS.
Yeah.
Because the IRS technically isn't a government entity, but they enforce. They're an enforcer. But that stuff is confused. That's another show.
Man, hey, yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's history. We gotta go all the way back to the Revolutionary War to figure that one out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you know, because I don't understand how these different entities can work with the government, but they giving regular people all the time to get some money from them. You know what I mean? Like, you know, work or whatever. You know, I don't know what's going on. This here I do know. It's a lot of mismanagement going on in Washington, and it ain't just in this term. Been going on for decades after decades after decades after decades. And every time they fool us, they point the finger at the other party. They did it. They did it. Just because you're a Republican or you're a Democrat, you're gonna side with the side that's doing the point. Come on, man.
Right.
You know, we gotta start wising up. Like we said, we never seen this before. My brother has been in the military and I had to take him around, shopping because unfortunately he had a stroke, and out, he's deeply involved with like what's going on in the government with laws and everything. And I was explaining to him about what's going on in the trucking industry.
Okay.
See, what we don't realize is people who are not in the trucking industry really don't know what we're dealing with.
Right.
Yeah, they really don't know, because he was just totally unaware of what what was going on in the trucking industry. And I had to enlighten him. I said, man, we're under attack.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Financially, we're under attack. I mean, they're killing rates, they raising up fuel prices, their maintenance fees. I mean, it's like it's nowhere to run, you know what I'm saying, but out in a lot of cases,
Yeah. In a lot of cases, yeah.
So yeah,
Yes.
But we're going to touch more on that too, man. I think we need to do research on, like, when this interest rate went up, like we said, that's for another show. But, just in closing, we just having a conversation about it. So much to touch on that a lot of these platforms are not giving the full meat of what's going on. Because, see, like, I feel like what a lot of these platforms are doing, they putting a lot of us in a pause. They giving us hope where, in spaces where there's really no hope existing.
Right.
And it's causing a lot of people to drown or fall off because they keep being told it's going to get better. The market's going to change, around peak season time. Then peak season get here, you see news break. There is no peak season. You know what I mean? So, like, you setting a lot of people up, and stringing them along, because we know people personally that continue to run all this year relying on a peak season to, like, bring them back up above water.
And I think that was earlier this year. The economists were saying they weren't expecting things to get better until 2025 anyway.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I can't understand why these some of these big heads in the logistic industry. Well, I can understand why, but I don't really have no proof. They keep reporting to some of these trucking news sources. Yeah, we looking at our analytics, and it look like we'll be in good shape around the beginning of next year. Before spring. We don't know that. Man, they've been telling us this crap, man, ever since the beginning of last year.
And obviously they talking about themselves.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. They'll be in shape because they made some type of investments.
Yeah.
They cut some costs somewhere else.
Yeah. Same way when they was talking about the driver shortage. Same way, man. That's campaigning for the bigger companies, man. And that's why we building this platform. We building this platform for us.
Right.
Priest, Gene, every owner operator, lease owner operator, company driver who want to be an owner operator, a logistics manager and logistics coordinator who's small and trying to grow and feel like the corporate foot is on their neck. That's what this platform is for.
Right.
This is not to cater or kowtow to the giant companies. We want to talk to the small people, the same people that the government told us that this economy is built off of. Middle class,
exactly.
small business owner. That's who we are trying to reach out to and look out for with the information that we got. So just take what we say and you know what I'm saying, in good faith, and just, you don't have to act on, but just keep it in mind and let the information that we give you make you aware of the possibilities of what could happen. Because if we see somebody say something about peak season and we don't see no data showing that it's true, we'll get up here and we'll report it. Yeah, this source says that the peak season, be here in January, and then Eugene will probably be like, yeah, because usually back in the day, around that time, that's when freight pick up, and then you'll probably hear me say they telling a lie. Flat out lie. You know what I'm saying? It just ain't looking like that, or vice versa. You might, so that's what this platform is for, man. And that's all I have to say in closing, Gene. You know, if you got anything else, you know, go ahead.
No, shoot, that pretty much agree with it. What you just had to say, other than for to kind of piggyback on what you said earlier, to everyone who still holds contracts with the Postal Service, wherever you may be in the country, they're cutting. Now we don't know what terminals or what locations around the country they intend on cutting next.
Right.
We just know that over the next few years, they're going to be cutting. So you should be. This is your warning. Go on ahead and start.
Next couple of years, you know, it's probably going in high gear next year. They said they plan on meeting this by 2025. This year already almost over.
Exactly.
So we're gonna see more news on this coming year.
Exactly.
Of companies affected.
So it's time, guys, for y'all to just, you know what I'm saying, find ways to. How are you going to transition? Now that you know what's going on, how are you going to transition from here? You know,
do business with your head, not with your heart.
Right.
That's the best. That's the best example I know I could give you. You know,
exactly. Right.
Do business with your head, not with your heart.
Yeah, that's all I had to say, Priest.
Okay, so look, man, I know we over our time. So we're gonna get out of here. Though. Oh yeah, man. You know, and we want to thank you guys for coming in, kicking back with us in the Truckers Lounge, and listening to us get real on the issues. Don't forget, click subscribe and follow. Help support this platform. Email us if you got an opinion. Email us, comment on the platform. And we could probably bring you up on the show to give you a perspective. Like I said, this is an open platform for us.
Right.
For us. So, you know, post your comment or email us. And we can revisit some of these topics and bring you on. But with that being said, we love you. Stay safe out there, drivers. And keep your wheels turned.
All right.